Solo queue, solo queue, solo queue. Everyone wants to know how to conquer solo queue. Whether you're down in Iron all the way up to Immortal, figuring out how to climb up a rank is always on the average Valorant player's mind. And one of the most important things that helps you climb up the ranks is picking the right agent. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 agents that you need to play in solo queue if you're looking to climb. Starting off with our first agent, a bit of a surprise I'm sure to most, Yoru is absolutely an agent you should have on your radar. After the most recent buffs to Yoru's flash and constant improvements over the last year, it's clear that Riot is trying to get players to play Yoru. We believe Yoru is a bit broken right now. It's just taking users time to really get around to playing him. There's a really big stigma in the Valorant community that Yoru is this trash tier, unplayable agent, but the reality is there are tons of top 500 players that play exclusively Yoru in every single match. Yoru's kit is incredibly strong right now, and although he may be a bit clunkier to play than say Jett or Chamber, he's still absolutely a force to be reckoned with in the right hands. The best part is, if you're looking to master Yoru, we've already given you a leg up over at SkillCapped with our brand new Yoru course we recently added. This is a completely updated guide on mastering all the ins and outs of Yoru so that you can get ahead of the competition and master one of the most complex agents in the game. Along with this, we also have tons of Smurf commentaries from Radiant level players where they walk you through their thought process during a match in all ranks of the game. All this is as usual backed by our rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't improve while using our service, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. We're going to move on to the next agent, but if you're really looking to improve, we recommend checking out SkillCapped, and we'll see you there. At this point, I almost sound like a broken record from talking about this agent, but yes, Chamber is also a great solo queue pick. You can't really make a list like this without talking about him, so let me just get him out of the way. Chamber is an agent that both provides useful utility for his team while also having the carry potential to take over games. His trademark allows him to cover flanks very well, keeping both you and your teammates safe. This allows your team to spend more resources on the push, and you don't have to spend as much time clearing angles on a rotation since you know an enemy couldn't have crossed with his trip there. In terms of solo play, he is one of the best agents in the game for taking first contact, and that's no exaggeration. Rendezvous allows him to take aggressive fights and then get out pretty much every time. This gives him a risk-free way to look for opening picks, and we all know how important getting the first blood is in Valorant. Chamber is also an agent that feels like he's never broke. This is thanks to his ultimate and Sheriff, which both give him real firepower on rounds where he doesn't spend many credits, allowing him to save those credits and keep his and his team's economy very healthy. But these are all points you've probably heard before, so let's move on to the next agent. The third agent you need to play in solo queue is Fade. You may not think of Fade as a pick that can solo carry games, but let me tell you that you are wrong. With all of her abilities gathering some sort of info, Fade's kit is unbelievably powerful, and in solo queue, a good Fade can easily take advantage of the lack of coordination to her advantage. When comboed together, her utility is extremely good at singling out an enemy and ensuring that they have a bad time. Just by finding an enemy that is alone and hitting them with a prowler or two, you can easily pick up a free kill for your team and give yourself a major advantage. The best part about Fade's kit though is that you never really need to make a risky decision. Because there is so much info given by your abilities, you can clear every single corner safely and give yourself a very easy entry onto site. Compare this to an agent like Breach, who has no info gathering abilities and needs to be a bit more careful when taking control of an area. Fade can basically just throw out her prowlers and follow behind them herself. She's like the perfect combination between a duelist and an initiator, and that's why she's always placed so highly on these lists. The most important thing though, as we mentioned, is you still need to be smart with your utility. It's really important to have good map knowledge and understand what positions you need to clear still. Otherwise, you could easily end up getting caught off guard. When you have this much information in your kit, there's no reason to get caught off guard because you can easily get your entries safely if you're thorough with your abilities. Moving on, the next agent you need to play in solo queue is Jett. She's not quite the same agent she used to be a year ago, but Jett is still a fantastic agent. Out of all the duelists, she's one of the strongest, and she's also probably the most self-sufficient. This gives her a huge advantage over an agent like Reyna that requires some level of teamwork to get the most out of her. Jett is so flexible that she can just adapt to whatever her team is doing. If the smokes are lacking, she can just throw a smoke herself to make up for it. Jett is also a safer option since she can dash into one of her smokes when trying to entry to give her some cover, where Reyna is usually taking a bigger risk when she double satchels onto a site since she's vulnerable while in the air. Jett can also play with the operator if the game calls for it, which is not something any of the other duelists can say. Jett is also an agent that is great at taking the first gunfight in a round. Her dash lets her peek aggressively without getting punished and potentially get a first blood before dashing away to safety. So if you're a duelist main and you're looking for an agent to carry with, Jett is definitely your girl. Before we move on to our last agent in the list though, it's time for honorable mentions. Reyna, after the recent buffs, we've actually heard some pretty good things about her. Because she's able to pull out her gun faster after using her blind, it makes her a much more viable entry and definitely gives her a bit more power as a duelist. Reyna's previous issue was that you were essentially playing an agent with no abilities when you picked her, but if her blind becomes more relevant, relevant with these changes, she definitely gains quite a bit of power in solo queue considering she already had a ton of potential. Some people may have noticed from our other videos we're not the biggest fan of Reyna. It's not because she doesn't have great potential as a carry, it's just that she doesn't normally live up to it. But who knows, maybe this is the start of a new era. Our second honorable mention though has to be Skye. Similar to Fade, Skye provides so much valuable information when played correctly that it can make it really difficult to make a wrong decision when you're being thorough. Along with that, her flashes make her a bit of a duelist in many ways, especially after the changes where they can't be shot anymore. We still believe Fade is better than Skye, but we do think she's slept on quite a bit, and we highly recommend adding Skye to your agent pool if you're really looking to climb in Valorant. Finally, moving on to our last agent you need to start playing in solo queue, we've got your favorite controller, Viper. I may be a Viper main, but hear me out. She's actually a very underrated pick in solo queue. First of all, Viper is a controller, which is a very necessary role to fill on every team. But this list isn't about teamwork. Out of all of the controllers, Viper offers some of the most solo carry potential out of any of them. On defense, you're pretty much impossible to push through, and if enemies do try to push into you, they should be free kills. Playing off of a one-way you put up and throwing down mollies makes you an absolute house on the defensive side. On attack, Viper is one of the best agents to lurk with in the game. You can throw up a wall for your team and then put it up at will from anywhere on the map. Finally, her ultimate is basically a free round win in the right hands. If you get good at playing in and around your Viper's pit, you can easily clutch 1v2, 1v3, and sometimes even 1v4s that you had no business winning. If you're able to play Viper well, she's a fantastic pick, and that even holds true in solo queue. And that concludes this list of the 5 agents you need to play in solo queue. Of course, these aren't the only playable agents, so if there are any you think we should have talked about, make sure to let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All of us here at SkillCapped want to give you a huge thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.